Well guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at my recent trade that I done. Traded this to a family member, just to some saws I had that I didn't use, didn't really care anything about. They were good saws, but this stuff I never ran. But we got an old 028 Wood Boss. Not for sure if it's a super or what it is. Said he believed he had the rear cover somewhere, but if not, I'm pretty sure I have one out here in a tote. But I thought the old original case was cool. First one of those I think I've ever seen, honestly. We're gonna get that out of the way, have a look at this thing, and maybe possibly see if we can get it running. They said it was running, but I'd had carb issues and might have put an aftermarket carb on it. I don't really remember, but we're going to see if we can figure something out on it here today. First things first, the bar and chain is kind of rusted up on it, but I'm not really a fan of that chain anyway, and would honestly probably just take it off and throw it in a scrap pile. So probably the first thing we're going to do is get that out of the way. And it looks like luckily those were super loose because they are super rounded off. Having that small nut on it doesn't really bother me. It is possible could have came with them, but not in my experience. You usually have the larger 3/4 inch nut. And I should have some of those here, or at least I hope so. But you can put these on one of the saws with an adjustable, the side adjuster. You just got to cut and drill that out. I've done it before. But that chain is not worth trying to free up. The bar is good. The bar looks good. Real nice bar. She is nasty, that's for sure, but I just mainly want to see if it'll pop over, what it may or may not need here in this video today. So for now, we're just going to put this back on it, and it does look like the clutch drum has seen better days. I might have one here. I have a whole tote full of 028 parts here somewhere. We'll have to have a look at and see what we can come up with. But I do have another one of these out in the shed out back. It actually, other than being a little nasty, probably dirtier than this one, actually looks and feels like it may run. I'm going to assume we're going to find a broken spring or a slipping spring, but we'll get this cover yanked off and see if we can get that rope wound back. So the mounting hardware on this thing is flat head, and honestly I don't know if it's ever been out. I've tried to get it loose via T-handle, via a big screwdriver, and we're resorting to this method. If you don't own one of these, I highly recommend you purchase one. It's an impact, actually an impact driver. Works amazing for stubborn screws. Comes with different bits. This is just a cheap one picked up at Harbor Freight. Works amazing, and like I said, I tried a big screwdriver. Tried the scrunch or T-handle, and we were just rounding stuff, and what felt like was about to actually break something. That one broke loose without any tapping, but yeah, those things work amazing to get stubborn screws out and bolts. And there's that set. Alright, well, let's get this on apart. Still not the easiest things in the world to turn out, to be brutally honest. Pretty sure that sleeve was stuck in the chain brake flag. I have one of these that's pretty nice that I completely redone over in the cabinet. I bought from a friend of the family that passed away just shortly after. Really like to locate a good OEM cylinder to go back on that one. I've got a Farmer Tech cylinder on it, and it's got a bunch of work to it that I don't like. It's very high strung, which is completely the opposite of how these things normally are. It is a super. I think they're 53 cc's. I have no idea what this one is. The name badge on it's worn off, but as old as it is, and with the hard wire that's here, I'm assuming it's just, you know, the old wood boss, they called it. Man, this thing's nasty. I might carry this thing over to the other shop and try to blow that out, but let's just see if we can get a couple more winds on this. I don't think the spring's broke. I might have put a rope in it and just didn't get it back tight enough. I'll try to wipe some of this out and make sure the magnets on the flywheel ain't corroded over. It'd be silly not to do that while we're in here. And I'll bring you guys back. Ain't she a beauty? It probably would clean up nice, but got that back on. I don't feel like it has a whole ton of compression, so I think we're gonna do that next. Cause you know, if it's got 60 psi, what would be the point in trying to get it to run? I did have a little Husqvarna 50 here years ago. I'd traded for, and that thing started and ran decent. It was just, you could tell it was just worn out. Idling had to be all the way in on it to run, but it had like 85 psi and would still run. Kind of crazy. Well, the plug threads on this thing are just, I've got them feeling pretty good now, but not the greatest in the world. So hopefully now we can get our compression. Did have to spray some penetrating oil around those threads. Whatever. We're on 0. We'll give it a 15 good pulls, I guess. On a positive note, our recoil's in good shape. And on a positive note, we've got compression about probably where it should be for something this old. And if you can't make that out, it's got about 130 psi. And believe it or not, it is plenty enough compression to run and run well. After it's ran a while, been heat cycled a little bit, rings loosen up a little bit. It may pick up a few more psi. Depending on its age, it could get worse when it warms up too. Alright. Get that off of there. Looks like on there. I'll have to find that. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, the choke mechanism. Yeah, there's no way that thing, if it started, would have ran very well at all anyway. And what I mean by that is that spring mechanism, and that's just so weak. I'm sure it would choke it, but man, it would be boggy. And it does look like we might have a new carburetor in there. She'll line up here. Ain't god awful. Let's look at it in the tank. Gosh. And I'm just showing all this as a repairman or builders, you know, what it takes sometimes to get these things going. Is there even a fuel line? It is there. Tank? Boy, it's like sticking straight down. It's kind of like behind the recess here. You can't even see it unless you get the saw on a funky angle, but it actually don't look bad. Please excuse the dog out there whining. I don't know what she's wanting. Probably a cat outside of her kennel. You guys know how dogs love cats, and I did find that kill switch may or may not work. It's something we'll have to address, but the bolt that goes on the back side of this cover, the kill switch wiring's grounded to it, and it does not tighten up even the least little bit. I don't think it can vibrate out because that kill switch wire is so rusted to it. So it is what it is. This thing's like 46, 47 years old, so there you go. Let's just make our own little 2-stroke concoction here. And I did squirt some oil down the cylinder before I put a new plug in it. You pull it over a few times. And I'll spin you guys around. We'll open the door here and see if this thing will try to bust off at all. Beautiful day here today, fall weather. I've mentioned that already, but you gotta love it, guys. Let's see. I don't know if it's gonna have fire. Got a lick of fire. Honestly, I have a flywheel tool I think will work on this. Well, that was really, really loose. I'm just curious, this old thing has points in it. Some of them did. Some of them didn't. Alright. Shouldn't take a whole lot. There we go. Those things usually do the trick. You got one of them, pick you one up. They're like less than 10 bucks, guys. As you can see, we have a set of breaker points here. Alright, guys, so I'm just going to sand these a little bit, and then we'll make 100% sure that they are opening and closing good. You know, we could have a bad condenser or anything here. If I can't get it to bust off today, I'll just order a good chip. Or, I just wonder if I've got a coil here that'll do away with those. It looks just like a 066 coil, which I think it might be. Okay, guys, so those of you that fool with Stihl saws are going to know exactly what that is. Later model saw. God, these things fit everything from like an 024 up to a 066 MS660, same ignition coil. That's what was on this. It's fully electronic, and the way this was done is what made me pull it off and check things out. Is I looked and there was a wire nut down here when it was hooked in and going to the breaker points. On this coil, what you want to do is what I've got done here. You can see my heat shrink work. Goes to the kill switch to kill it out. So this thing never would have got any spark, never would have ran. It was just basically grounded out the whole time. So yeah, I'm going to get all this buttoned back up, and hopefully this aftermarket coil's good. If it's not, I'm sure I've got one laying here. And should have spark now, or at least ways I hope so. Alright guys, that coil was a no-go, no spark. I know for a fact this coil is good. It's a Farmer Tech coil. Came off of a 200T kit saw I built a few years back. So we should be good to go on it. Unless I've got an issue somewhere else, it should have spark. So the low jet was like about to fall out, and the high jet was bottomed all the way out. So I don't know. Let's see what we come up with here. I've got some fuel poured in the car. Choke mechanisms in the air filter. We seen it was junk, so old 028, that thing sounds pretty nasty. Everyone I've had here kind of lazy, but that thing's sounding good. I think it's well worth investing in an air filter and a rear cover. I went through a tote of 028 parts I've got, and I've got everything but a rear cover and an air filter. I've got a couple of rear handles, several recoils, 2 pretty good looking top covers, and a couple sets of cases and cranks and stuff, but no rear cover, no air filter, so we'll have to look into that, but let's see if she busts back off. But yeah, that thing sounds good. It's loud. Probably because the muffler's about rotted out on it. Didn't have a muffler either, but we'll call that a win. Yeah, anyway guys, thank y'all for watching, and I wanted to take y'all along with this to show you how I diagnose one that's not running. Yeah, y'all have a good one.